Fund. We are a nonprofit children's advocacy organization, and my job is all about making sure that young people's voices are represented in the laws that are being passed that affect all of our lives. So along with many amazing partners, we threw this event, Our State, Our Stage, to bring out youth artists to the Capitol to make this building more accessible to young people and to make sure that lawmakers know what issues youth have on their mind, and that they better be expecting us, because we're going to keep showing up and keep speaking out.
Our State, Our Stage was really about elevating the voices of young people and especially giving them a lens to express themselves through art. I mean, art activism, when you think about Banksy or like protest anthems or even Nina Simone's Young, Gifted, and Black, it's always been a way for people to express the voice of the voiceless and to also shed light on issues and share common experiences. And that's what we hope to do today.
I feel like art can transcend language. We're very limited sometimes with how we speak, or like even like right now I'm nervous, but I think art allows me to just have that visual, that communication that's transcended in any language, and I think that's what brings people more and more together. As you can see, we had a meeting with a couple of artists and we were just throwing out ideas, but I wanted to make something that like was very interactive with people. Just a representation of like just where all our laws get made here in Texas. So I wanted like a symbol for that. What better than Doodle of the Capitol?
I'm a junior in high school, and I really like stuff like this, because it's like we have the power to change so much. We all feel like everything should be better and equal. Like the world does need a change. And I feel like stuff like this really opens your eyes to a lot of things. I think it's really cool that people do this and like go out their way. You could use art to promote a lot, like your own opinions, to fight what you want to fight for and what you believe is right.
After the overturn of Roe v. Wade of June of 2022, I didn't really know how to articulate how I was feeling. I was honestly just quite shocked. And through music, I've been able to express myself. In the past 8 years, I'd never reached a song that was so hard to write until the one I performed called Being a Woman. For me personally, it's really hard for me to articulate exactly how I'm feeling whenever I'm talking, although I talk a lot. But music, it's a lot easier to be more vulnerable and more real with myself and with others, because honestly, like, everyone here, we're all strangers, we just met, and I think it's really beautiful that we can all come together and kind of hone in on one message, and that's what I do with music.
There's a lot of power in like art, and power just necessarily doesn't have to come from legislation or rallying. It can come from in many different forms, and I hope this like Artivism festival really showcases that.
So, I mean, art is an expression, right? So you can express anything you want through art. It could be politics, how you feel, how you woke up this morning, So it's very connected. So I find it hard to explain, because I know like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, art is it's just how it's you. It's whatever you make it to be, and you can express it however you want. Like my brother's paintings are over there. That's an expression of how he feels and what he sees in the world and stuff like that.
I performed a monologue from a play called Dry Land by Ruby Ray Spiegel. It's basically a play about a teenager. She gets pregnant, and in her state it's not legal to have an abortion, so her and her friend try to find a way to kind of do it like in a very worst way possible. And I performed a monologue from the play. Yeah.
Oh, and when my friends come over, we'll talk about books. And the fact that I had an abortion my senior year of high school won't be a big deal.
So in the state of Texas, it is illegal to get an abortion. So I really thought that it was a good choice because like I'm right in front of like the Capitol, and I feel like, you know, saying it out loud will like really like show that like your voice matters.
I was called being a woman. I just don't think it's right for men to take rights away from women, especially when they just don't quite understand what it's like.
I've always felt kind of like helpless and that like I can't really do anything. You know, I'm not some person in politics or, you know, really able to do much in these like protests and things like that. But especially recently with Roe v. Wade getting overturned and just a lot of the like the political environment that we are in now in the United States really kind of pushed me to want to be able to do more and kind of share my voice in a way that I could. Opportunity to share it with even more people and get my voice out there and just be able to make a change even if it's small.
This demonstrates the might and the strength that every Texan has inherited. Perseverance. The perseverance that runs through our veins and that has marked our history as Texans. And it is through that same perseverance that we will defend our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness here in the state of Texas.
I think it just brings people together. Ultimately, we don't know what's the best way to get our message across. Constantly we see our leadership telling us that because we're Gen Z, because we're so young, because we're so inexperienced, that we don't have the right to communicate or address the concerns that we find most pressing. However, art is what speaks to all. It speaks to our families, it speaks to our parents, it speaks to legislators here in the state capitol. So through the contrast of our colors and through the storytelling that we communicate with spoken word, I think it's the most creative but also enriching way to connect everyone together. And whether it's visually or auditorily, understanding and really feeling a story, it's very gratifying to me.
Because that's what our people deserve. Because my fellow Texans, this is our home. And we're gonna fight for it. Thank you.
All art is political, and I think that the intersection of art and politics is already there, and this is the perfect setting to do artivism. This is my painting. It's called Online Forever. It is kind of my response to the one of the social aspects of the pandemic, how 3 years in, I'm still finding myself spaced out between online spaces and real life, and just the monotony and frustration that comes from having to divide your life between different realms and the uncertainty that comes with it.
The assignment was a propaganda poster, and I did the topic of school shootings because they're so prominent right now. Each of these is a list of the people killed in the shootings all over the U.S., starting at Columbine, and I think I stopped about 4 months ago. And it's mainly just like a reminder of everyone we lost and what needs to change because of it. A lot of times art gives better emotion than words can, so it's a lot easier, especially for me who's really bad with words, to invoke an emotion or like show that something needs to be changed through art.
I was in the pandemic, I was in my room. For me it was beneficial because I got to learn more about myself and figure out things of my own, but something that I was like thinking about in the back of my head is like how is this going to affect younger kids, because we don't know, like we know the pandemic's happened, but we don't know how it's going to, in their lifespan, how that's going to affect them, and so this is a little bit about that.
I think that it is important to encourage everyone to try to find a way to express themselves in whatever the easiest way that comes to them.
I got to do a fun little origami thing, and I love art, I love activism, never been good at origami, and Adam over there was able to teach me how to make an origami lotus. And it's just supposed to represent how even in times that we don't have rights at all, we need to learn to blossom and bloom, and hopefully the sun will come again and our rights will come again.
So I did the stamp station, and basically what I learned was that during a lot of protests there are a lot of posters and a lot of signs that basically just show and express their feelings and emotions. And what they basically told me or showed me was that you can use stamps and other forms of art when protesting. Like, that's what the stamp was used for.
Art is something very beautiful, and throughout the strokes and everything that you paint or draw or say, you show what you feel and what you want to be shown and acknowledged through your art. And through my art, I show how I feel and my emotions and how I've grown throughout all of it through my days.
I hope y'all are ready for another round of performers.
My thirst remains unquenched, a wail claws in my throat. Watching all of this unfold, it dawned on me how I was now in the midst of a major water crisis, something I had not previously thought imaginable. We are as susceptible to the effects of the loss of basic necessities, like water, as anyone else. Climate change and global warming can sometimes seem like distant terms, when in reality, we will all be affected by these changes in our environment.
Screaming loud, tears streaming down, masking the thoughts, paint the thoughts. No one will notice, I fence my emotion, my smile turns down, the pain is out, the urge to shout. She knows, he does too, the agony stops. I buried my thoughts, now it's gone forever.
I think it went well. I mean, we saw a lot of not just people who we specifically invited, but also people passing through, some interest in policy, and also a wide range of issues. So I think it worked out well in getting the young people engaged and getting them used to the idea that they can express themselves and that their legislators and their communities will listen.
I mean, it was so amazing to have so many folks come out to see all the creativity and action. And we're super excited to keep bringing young people out, making sure we're getting them in the Capitol too and talking to lawmakers and that their voices are being heard.
We had a lot of talented young people just kill it and be very entertaining. We had everything from spoken word to careless whisper on the saxophone. So I think the youth are pretty talented and have a lot to say.
I've said it time and time and again. If you want, I can be your friend. Thank you.
The song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
There is a huge, long history of pretty much any civil rights movement that you think of. There have been artists and people using art to make their voice heard, whether it's murals, zines, songs, poetry. Art is such a beautiful way to bring people together and just really express our voices in a way that is personal and creative and allows young people to just create their own work and take a theme and run with it.
And hopefully in the future CDF can build a base of power with young people throughout Texas and the country, and the world, but specifically Texas, and get more things done that benefit young people.
Can you guys hear me? This poem is centered around the youth, us, and also our voices. Voices, birthed in the larynx and uttered through the mouth, they fluctuate. Protesting, crying, begging. They want to liberate. They want to motivate, narrate the unheard, stories and bodies under our very neighborhoods. Their remnants linger in the old ballads, paintings, and songs. And imagine, some people wanted and still want that to be gone. That piece of our history, the struggle, the torment, the violence that made some of us silent. But those unmarked graves weren't left there for us to be quiet. We are their voice. We have the choice they never had to speak our truth as us, the youth. We stand on their shoulders. We owe it to them. And I get it, this may not be the first time you heard this type of poem. It might be the same old thing to you. For others, it encourages, it electrifies. We need the whole truth, not the half lies perpetuated throughout society all our lives. And to those who still want to hide it, good luck trying to pry it from our eyes. Because this generation wants to know every inch of the skies, how this country was built, who it was taken from, and who holds the guilt. Needless to say, we will have the truth, regardless of whether you threaten us with hate, deportation, or a nuke. That is nothing new. We will push through. The vision of the future is the youth.